My name is Jeremy Dennis. I'm an artist and photographer based here on the Shinnecock Indian Reservation in Southampton, New York. I think my first major involvement with the Parrish Art Museum goes back to 2018 to the Parrish Art Museum's Roadshow. I work with Corinne Erni, and we went to Duck Creek in Springs, East Hampton, to create a show around my series titled Stories. And it's a series that looks at Indigenous creation stories. So it's a series that explains how we as Shinnecock people originated. And so I thought it was really good timing and very appropriate because this was sort of the breakthrough with my art and really got me started as an artist. So after that, I've really continued to stay in touch and work with the parish over the years. I think back fondly to Tamashi Jackson's exhibit, Land Claim, looked at different themes of perhaps accessibility, different historic issues and conflicts in the area. And so I thought it was, of course, appropriate to include Shinnecock, just because land claim has so many different meanings, so many different important communal initiatives and politics associated with it. And so in many different ways, Shinnecock and the parish have a lot of history in common, a lot of reconciliation, perhaps, is a word that could be used. And I think Tamashi Jackson's show really made that apparent and put it to the forefront. I was also recently involved with the Another Justice show involving Hank Willis Thomas at the Parrish Art Museum. Myself and other Indigenous artists were actually featured on the Shinnecock monuments on Montauk Highway. And this was really exciting because, in my mind, the first time that art was displayed in such a public and immediate way. And so thousands of people every single day drive past the Shinnecock monuments on the highway. And it was just amazing that it wasn't really for commercial needs, it was more for social justice and uplifting Indigenous voices. Having the opportunity to look at the Parrish Art Museum's collection, there's so many objects, but when I think of the parish, I think of William Merritt Chase's landscape paintings of the Shinnecock Hills. And for, I guess, one positive, it kind of shows or archives what the Shinnecock Hills look like maybe 100 years ago. When we think of American art history, it usually starts with a landscape. And I wouldn't say that Chase's paintings were different, even though they came later. In most of them, it's people coming to what is the Hamptons today, enjoying the beaches, enjoying the fields, and just kind of frolicking through this empty landscape. And for the most part, Shinnecock people are absent from this array of different paintings. And so I wanted to, in my Artist Choose Parish artwork, create a piece that is in conversation, that actually fills the gap of that omission of Shinnecock people. And so they're meant to be hung together in conversation, and maybe they are part of the same landscape. Maybe it was my artwork cropped out from the other. And it's really just the idea of the form itself being a white frame in the same ornamentation. It's almost as if it's part of the architecture of the parish. And so appropriately, it'll be hung in the spine. And in many parallels, I think that's just a metaphor for how Shinnecock people and the land and the things that have happened over the years are so integral and part of the parish. And so I wanted to just highlight this. I want viewers to walk away thinking, they know William Merritt Chase's paintings. They come to the parish for these paintings, but do they know the other side of the history here? And so I think it will be a moment of reckoning for people who see this pairing, and they really can't walk away without wondering, or perhaps doing more research to understand this pairing. So the work that I'm including for the Artist Choose Parish show, it comes from a series titled Sacredness of Hills. And this was really a relatively new project. I still think of it as so. It started in 2018, around the time that the Hawthorne site in the Shinnecock Hills became a major news story. And so as an artist trying to educate and create awareness around this injustice, I wanted to reacquaint the public with our sacredness of hills. And so with my series of photographs, I really want to reacquaint and associate Shinnecock with these hilltops. And so whenever you see a hilltop, it could be a sacred spot, it could be a sensitive area for our ancestors. And this series of photographs basically demonstrates that by showing Indigenous people in these spaces. So they inhabit hilltops. In many cases, they're in these places that have been disrupted. So it could be gravel, it could be under construction, and it has an Indigenous person there as an observer and witness to this desecration. And so with the piece from the Artist Choose Parrish, I wanted to maybe push it further and actually show the parallel between the 19th century and how the Shinnecock Hills once looked with its short grasses and bushes, and how the William Merritt Chase paintings appear as well. And just the idea that Shinnecock people were there and were witnesses to this desecration, and we still remember the injustice. And so as an artist and photographer myself, I always try to find the practicality in art and always try to make it educational if I can. And so each one of my works, they are usually accompanied by a context or some sort of wall text to explain the meaning. So I believe in art, I believe in history and its ability to show that we're all connected in that way. So I'm hoping that we continue as artists and culture bearers to keep the work going, because it is balancing out the division that's happening in the world.